Hi, I'm Bill here at WoodWerks. I'm going to talk today about a very common method of joinery, pocket holes. This is an older pocket hole jig that's been very popular the past few years, and it has an adjustment piece here that moves up and down, a clamp. You put your wood in here and you can clamp it in. Kreg has redesigned these, and so I'm going to show you the two new jigs that they have redesigned. Hand this off to my assistant Brian here. When you use a pocket hole jig, there are three things you have to do. You have to control the height of the jig. The jig will control the angle at which you are drilling into, but you have to set the height according to the material thickness that you have. You also have to set the stop collar on your drill bit so you're not drilling all the way through the jig, and you have to get the right size screw. And we're going to talk about how these jigs make this easier, because Kreg has really made some redesigns to make this nice. I'm only going to briefly mention this basic jig here. This is a 500 series jig. You can buy this jig itself without these two platforms in a basic kit. You put your wood in here, you adjust it. The handle actually, for convenience, can be rotated, and you can tension the lock. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I really want to get to the more advanced jig. I'm going to hand this off once again to Brian, and we're going to look at this more advanced and very versatile jig that they've come out with. This is the 700 series jig. I mentioned the first thing you got to do according to your material thickness is adjust the height of where this jig sets. This is, you notice this angle here? This makes this automatic. When you clamp that down, that's already at the right height. If I put a thicker piece of wood in there, like this one, this is the thickness of a common 2x4, that's at the right height. The jig has a spring tensioning here, so you can do it as tight or as loose as you want. The next challenge you would have here is setting the stop collar on this bit. You need a special bit to do a pocket hole. It is a step bit. They've made this really easy. It's hard to see, but they have little circles here that tell you the material thickness, and this little stop collar has a hole in it. You just align the hole with the thickness and tighten it in. Furthermore, they give you a little gauge here. The gauge can help you determine what the thickness of your wood is by holding the gauge right up here. And then it's got a little Allen wrench that helps you to tighten the stop collar on the bit. So that all makes it easy. Now you need to know what size screw to use. On the back of every screw package there's a chart, and it tells you what size screw that you should use given the thickness of your material. So in trying to make this jig versatile, we're used to seeing the jig in this orientation. There is a clamp that fits in the bottom of this. You can clamp it to any surface. But with this one, you could also turn it in this orientation. Again, there's another slot to clamp this to a surface, and you could use it in this orientation. That's more flexibility than we've had in a pocket hole jig before. There are wings which you can attach to this jig. Thank you, Brian. They can be attached on either side, and this is in the case you have a much bigger piece of wood. They actually will fit underneath the bottom, and when you're done using them, they actually fold up and lock together to make it compact. Or you could simply move them out to the side if you've got a bigger piece of wood. If you don't want to use the wings at all and you're just doing a small piece of work, why, they have a couple of little levers that pop out right there. If you're doing a lot of repetitive small work, you can actually screw this down by opening those wings and screw that to any surface and hold it absolutely still. The pro version of this jig, which right now has a cost of about $149, give or take, includes these things. You get the jig, you get the drill bit and the stop collar. You get two square nose drivers for your drill. This is the short one. They also give you a 6-inch. A dust collection attachment. Attachment like this will fit on either side of this, depending on how you want to operate, and then you hook your hose into the end of that. They give you 160 screws in the two most common sizes. 1 1/4 length screws, which are most common for 3/4 inch material. 2.5 inch screws, which are most common for the thicker stuff, and typically 2x4s. You get the jig clamp, and they throw in a console table project plan. And all that for, at current price, about $149. And that's it.